Yeah, hey guys, welcome back. So if you're looking at buying some new pickups, I've got a really cheap and easy mod that you definitely have to try out first. Part of what gives a pickup its signature sound is something called its resonant peak. And when I was designing pickups, I found a really cheap and easy way to shift this peak to revoice the pickup. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so if we get kind of nerdy for a second, so if you, a typical pickup, if we think this axis is the gain and this is frequency along here, it kind of goes along, and then it has this thing called a resonant peak like that, and that's kind of the voicing of that pickup. That's really the main thing that makes it sound the way that it does. Now when you roll down the tone control, what you end up doing is you sort of like lower that resonant peak less and less until it kind of just rolls right off like that. Awesomely drawn, by the way. So that is pretty much how a normal tone control works with a pickup. Now, if we use this mod, so here we go, here's the volume of the gain, and this is the frequency along here. This is the normal pickup with its resonant peak. When you add capacitance in parallel, all you end up doing is shifting that resonant peak a little bit lower each time. Okay, obviously my drawing sucks, but that makes sense, right? So you're shifting that resonant peak, so the power and all the cool frequency response of that pickup is still there. You're just revoicing it. So as you can see, adding capacitors in parallel is actually quite different from just rolling back your tone control. Now, before we move on, this is a non-monetized channel. So if you want to help this channel out, please subscribe. You don't even have to hit the bell icon, but by subscribing, it just helps these videos reach more people, which is something I'd really love. So if you could do that, it'd be great. Right, so let's test this out. So this guitar came into the workshop recently. It's a Bullet Squire, like probably one of Fender's or one of Squire's cheapest Squires that they do. And it was in ultra bad shape, so I've put new pots in it. I've had to fix it all up to get it going, and I thought it'd be a great one to test, because what I've found in my experience is that the better quality pickups you have, the more effective this mod is probably what I should say. So what I have done is I've built this little device here. So this is just a box that adds capacitors in parallel to the guitar signal. So everything's on full here, and I've got this little clicker that I can click around and sort of fine tune the sound that I want with a whole bunch of different options. Then I can flick between bypass and affected sound. And there's a few other cool little things it does, but it's what I use if I'm wanting to do that to a guitar. So what I do is I just get a sound, start on the neck pickup. That's the stock sound. Actually, it's not actually that bad. The thing with Bullet Squire pickups is that they're super underwound, and they use like extra strong magnets to get the output up. But I'm not totally hating that sound, but I think I'll just put a little tweak on there. So I quite like that. And probably the same for the middle. Yeah. But when it comes to the bridge, and it's almost always the bridge for me with a lot of these, with a lot of Strat voicings, is that they have ultra bright bridge voicing, which this one does. So if I flick that off, which is super bright. So if I stick this on, what did I say, around here? See how it's still beefy in the mids. It doesn't just sort of diminish the sound of that pickup. Even with these like ultra low quality pickups, it still works really well. But if you had something like Seymour Duncans or DiMarzio's and you just wanted to tweak them, it's going to be a lot more effective. Cool, so now I have my values. So the next thing is to solder these values directly in. So I'll show you how to do that. Right, so the caps that I came up with were 560 picofarad for the neck and for the middle, and a 2.7 nanofarad for the bridge. So what you've got to do is you've got to locate where your pickups connect to your switch. This is probably the easiest way that I do it. And then you just wire a capacitor from the switch to any ground point. And in this case, this shell is grounded on the switch, and it's got a little ground lug here. So I'm going to wire all the capacitors from this point to this ground lug here. So let's do this now. Okay, so there we go. So now they're all wired to their respective pickups. Now, one thing you can do if you are testing this, you don't actually need to have a little gizmo like I do. That just makes it a lot easier. You just need some alligator clips and a whole bunch of capacitors, and you just clip them on and you just try them as you go. Right, let's put this all back together and test it. All those caps are in there, they've been soldered in, so let's have a listen. So here's our neck pickup. Here's the middle. And here's the bridge. For me, way more usable, especially that bridge. And the neck and the middle are just really tweaks. I don't really use the middle, to be honest, but the in-between sounds like position 4. Heaps cooler sound, and position 2 as well. Heaps fatter. So it's a great way to tweak your pickups. It doesn't actually replace getting new pickups if you want to totally revamp your sound, but it's a great way to tweak what you already have. And like I said before, if you've got good quality pickups or decent quality ones, the effect is a lot more pronounced. So the caps I used in here were probably quite big, especially for the bridge. A 2.7 nanofarads, quite a massive cap, to tame that brightness down and to just make it a bit more beefy. And the front two are just really sort of tweaks. It's actually a pretty awesome sounding guitar now. So hope you really like that, guys. Hope that saves you a bit of cash, and it's a great way to just tweak the pickups that you've already got. Please subscribe. I've got some really cool videos in the works for this channel, so it'd be great to have you on board for that. We'll catch you on the next one.